Today's recipe calls for some of that healthy devil's lettuce, also known as kale. I'm going to show you how to make a white bean kale soup that has some turkey sausage in it, and oh boy, it's delicious. So with that said, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do in a large stock pot, or a Dutch oven in this case, with a small bit of oil, is cook off 1 1/2 links of turkey kielbasa sausage. You're going to cook your turkey sausage over medium heat for about 3 to 4 minutes. Our sausage is already cooked. All we're trying to do at this point is render out a ton of fat that it holds and get a nice crispy sear on the outside of our kielbasa sausage. You can use more or less kielbasa if you choose. It's really up to you. And there's no right or wrong way to cut your sausage. What I did is take the link and cut it in half, and then cut that half in half again, and then cut little 1/4 inch half moons of our turkey sausage. Wasn't gonna bore you with that, so we just jumped straight into cooking. Now that our kielbasa has a nice crunchy and crusty sear on the outside, and we've rendered out a ton of fat, we're gonna take our sausage out of the pan and throw it on a plate that's been lined with a paper towel. The paper towel will catch all the excess grease from our sausage. So I wasn't paying attention, and I took my turkey sausage a little too far, so I slightly scorched the bottom of our pan. So you definitely want to avoid that and not make the same mistake I did. This way you can use the rendered fat from your sausage to cook the rest of your vegetables. If you end up doing what I did, all you need to do is take your sausage out of your pan and clean your pan up, and then start with some fresh oil and a fresh pan. Now that we've taken all the turkey kielbasa out of our Dutch oven, the next thing we're going to add to our pan is 1 medium yellow onion that has been small diced. We're going to give it a few pinches of salt as well, because you need to season as you go. We're going to saute our onions in the rendered fat from our kielbasa, or you can also use olive oil if you choose instead. We're going to saute our onions until we get a nice caramelization on them. This should take anywhere from 5 to 6 minutes, and you can totally skip the caramelization part and just saute your onions until they're nice and translucent, but the caramelization will bring a ton of flavor to our soup. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but you're going to do all of this over medium heat. Now that our onions have caramelized and they have that nice golden brown color to them, we're gonna add 2 medium-sized zucchinis that have been cut into 1/4 inch half moons, just like our turkey kielbasa. We're gonna give that a quick stir. You can use any type of vegetable of your choice. You can do some zucchini and some squash, or add some cauliflower. It's really up to you. We're gonna give it a quick stir to coat everything in our fat. We're gonna saute our zucchini for about 2 to 3 minutes before we add the next set of ingredients. Now that we've cooked our zucchini for a bit, we're going to add 4 medium-sized garlic cloves that have been minced. We're going to cook our garlic for about a minute, or until it becomes nice and fragrant and smell. Now that we have that nice, delicious, fragrant garlic smell, you're going to push all of your vegetables to one side so you have an open spot in your pan. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes to that open space. We're going to toast our red pepper flakes for about 40 seconds, or until they become nice and fragrant. This will help release a lot of the natural oils that the red pepper flakes hold to make our soup even more spicy. After we toast the red pepper flakes, we're going to add 1 can of diced tomatoes. You're going to give everything a quick stir together. We're going to cook our liquid from our tomatoes down. We're going to reduce it to about half. Now that our liquid has reduced by half, we're going to start to add all of our beans to our pot. First thing we're going to add is 1 can of navy beans. The next is 1 can of cannellini beans. And the last one we're going to add is 1 can of great northern beans. You're going to give everything a quick stir so all of our ingredients get to know each other. The next thing we're going to add to our pot is some vegetable stock. A little pro tip for you is take your stock and rinse your diced tomato can with your vegetable stock. This way you get some more of that tomato juice out of your can. We're going to use 1 1/2 quarts of veg stock, or enough liquid until everything is nice and well covered. Now that you have all of your liquid added to your pot, you're going to turn your heat to a medium high and bring everything up to a simmer. Now that our soup has come to a simmer, the next thing we're going to add to our pan is 1/2 pound of some chopped kale. You can use more or less, it's really up to you. You're going to do this in stages. You're going to add a bit of kale at a time and grab a spatula or a ladle and push it down so we can add the next set. If you're not a huge fan of this healthy devil's lettuce, you can also use some spinach if you choose. The only thing is, if you're going to use spinach, don't add it to your soup. I would add it to your bowl right before you're going to eat it, because if you add it to your soup now,
now it'll break down because it's a delicate leaf and it becomes stringy and just a weird texture, and it's not that great. Whereas kale is super fibrous and will hold up a lot better in our pot. Now that we have a full pot of a ton of veggies and a little bit of meat, we're going to throw a lid on top of our pot and let our soup simmer over medium heat for 15 minutes. During this time, all of our flavors will meld and come together to make a delicious soup, and this will allow our kale to cook down and become nice and tender. And a little pro tip for you want to leave a small crack at the top of your pot with your lid. This will allow steam to be released from our pot, which will help in turn prevent everything from overflowing and making a huge mess. And over the course of this 15 minutes, you want to give your soup the occasional stir to help prevent anything from sticking on the bottom of our pot. After the 15 minutes is up, we're going to give our soup a taste and adjust the seasoning as needed by adding some more salt or some fresh cracked black pepper or even some more red pepper flakes. Now that the seasoning is adjusted to your likeness, you're going to grab your favorite soup bowl and a ladle and start to portion out a nice healthy bowl of soup. You can garnish your soup with some shaved Parmesan cheese. I didn't have any, so I just garnished with some dried parsley. Now it's time to dig in.
Alright, now that our soup is done, let's give it the old taste-a-roo. So looking at it, it's nice and aesthetically pleasing. It's really full and hearty looking, so it's got a ton of goods in it. Then that little flaky parsley on top makes it look all bougie and nice. So let's give it a shot. See if I can burn my face hole again. The soup came out super banging. There's so many different textures going on for it. That turkey sausage is nice and tender. Then we get some softness from our cooked down zucchini and our cooked tomatoes. Then our kale stems are still crunchy, like nice and al dente, so we get some crunch factor in there. Then flavor wise, it's perfect. From our tomatoes, it's kind of tomatoey. And then we get some garlicky flavor in there as well. And then the fat from the turkey adds a ton of flavor to it as well. Overall, it's just really well balanced and perfect. If you wanted more heat, maybe add some sriracha afterwards or add some more red pepper flakes to make it a little bit more spicy. I think it's perfect. And you should just make it because it's really good. Alright, that's it for today's video. This recipe is really easy, and you can throw pretty much whatever vegetable you want into this, maybe some cauliflower or some broccoli, or if you're one of those kale haters, you can swap it out for some spinach, and it'll come out just as great. And this is the perfect recipe for any weeknight. Throw this in the crock pot, come home from work, and have this sweet, hearty meal for any day of the week. And you can take this to any banquet, and it's sure to slap. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Thanks for watching. And I got done early, even though I don't have a watch on. So I don't know what to do next. We'll see you on the next one. Alright, now that our soup is done, this camera's crooked. There you go. Now that our souperoni is done, let's give it a taste-a-roo, brother. What is this, some 1990s WrestleMania? Come on now. Jesus. I'm not fucking around, alright? So the texture on the soup came out really great. So we're about texture. Alright, that's it for today's video. Alright, that's it for today's video. This recipe is really easy, and this is perfect for the wintertime, or to take to a banquet if you have one to go to, if you're that special. And I don't know what that was. I really hope I don't get schmutz on my shirt, because it's white. That's why I don't like white shirts.